Tonight's guests are the Royal Majesties of the East Kingdom, Magnus Tindal and Alberic von Rostock. And featuring a live performance by the co-steward of the upcoming Bardic War, the Honorable Lady Hilla Stormbringer. Me, I'm your announcer, Master Bjorn of the Northern Sea. And here's your host, Master Laertes McBride.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Hope you're having a good day. Well, evening, as the case may be. We have a chock full of show tonight. We're very fortunate to have the Majesties of the East and the co-steward of the Bardic War from the middle. So we're coast to coast and beyond tonight. A couple of quick housekeeping things in case you missed some of the announcements. One is Pinzig War, Pinzig 49, has once again been postponed another year. So it's been postponed to 2022, and I believe their Majesties might have something to talk about that. Also, since we talked about the East Kingdom stuff, West Kingdom, in case you missed the announcement, the West Kingdom is currently not planning on opening up official practices or gatherings until August 1st. So they've actually extended past the recommended deadline, well, not recommended, but deadline given by the Board of Directors. So everyone in the West Kingdom, keep that in mind. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to wait for, we'll do this one. So there's a Board of Directors Q&A forum about the COVID-19 reopening questions scheduled for this Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Feel free to check out the information on the Society for Creative Anachronism page on Facebook. The links are there for that. And for this next announcement, I do want to bring Bjorn in right quick, just for a little fun. And he will be here right now. Hey, Bjorn.
Hello there.
So the last thing before we get into the other crazy stuff we have, I want to make sure you saw the notice that went out after the board meeting this weekend. And that Unstior has a new incipient principality.
Yes.
Leinheim.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, I believe it's all the parts of Oklahoma that Texas didn't want. And I think that's how it's defined, right?
Well, or you could say that it's just the northern reaches, and we're very happy for them. That's where I started in the SCA. That's the part of Unstior that I'm from, not the part that you're from, but the part that I'm from. So.
Well, I was from what is now the northern part of the kingdom. I was from Steps, and my household and I would travel up north to the northern part of the kingdom all the time. Wonderful people up there. We had a great time. But congratulations. Now let's talk about Bardic War right quick. I know we're between now and Bardic War in the middle of May. We're going to do some announcements, updates for people that are following along. But Bjorn, I want to share something with you that I put together for our segment about Bardic War. I think we'll kick it off with this one each time. So let's have a look at that. So I want to try something a little lighthearted for it.
I just want to say that I'm a big fan of the Zack Snyder cut. That is fantastic.
It's available at IMAX even. So.
It definitely looked like it. That's fantastic. It's almost like you were filming it directly near Sir Nicolo's forge with all the sparks and everything flying.
I know. So what update do we have about Bardic War this upcoming?
Well, beyond the fact that we are the official variety show, it has also been made apparent to the powers that be that they really want to tone down some of the seriousness because they've decided to have both you and me as hosts for a game show during the Bardic War. And I don't know why they lost their mental faculties for a while, sensory deprivation tank, an all-night bender. I'm not really certain why they chose us, but they chose us, and now they're stuck with us.
I figured they were just desperate. So yeah, we'll have details on the game show. As it gets closer, we'll be looking for contestants and participants on a different level too. So as you saw, go to bardicwar.org, and it's May 15th through some other date, 23rd. I'm sure our co-steward will know those dates right off the top of her head. All right, so we've burned enough time at the top of the hour. Let's hear what you have for arts and sciences this week.
My pleasure. So one of the neat things that I have found we have been doing a great deal of within the digital SCA space has been talking about things that make us uniquely us. What makes the SCA the SCA? It's not that other martial pursuits like Battle of Nations aren't cool. It's not like other reenactment groups, say Adrian Empire, for example, aren't also awesome, or other LARPing or other groups, Buckskinners, what have you. Everybody that really enjoys the kind of recreations that these general groups do, it's almost certain that you have an avenue that you can pursue. But there's something about the SCA, something that makes us unique to the experiences that we have. And I believe a lot of it has to do with our own society history, the history of the SCA and how it works. And the people that tell those stories are the bards, the performers. And it's no small coincidence that in having our Bardic War, we're also going to get a chance to see some amazing cross-pollination. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is an online event that's going to be coming up very soon, this Friday, the 23rd, and it's going to be coming up around 4 p.m. Pacific time. It's on Facebook, and it is Inclusivity in the Bardic Arts. And in particular, it's going to be talking about what things we can do to make the Bardic Arts something that deals with the diversity and the equity that we wish to create within our modern SCA, within the SCA as it is now and moving forward. Now, obviously, there are things we can talk about in regards to certain performances we may not do anymore. All you have to do is read some of the pieces done by the Minnesingers or some of the pieces that were done in earlier times to notice that there was anti-Semitism, or there were classes of people, the Romani, for example, that were looked down upon or even vilified or demonized, if you will. And so even though those are period stories, period songs, period poems, we don't generally perform those just because we in our modern sensibilities know that there are certain things that just aren't appropriate anymore. And that's not to say that they aren't to be studied and understood, but they are to be studied and understood within their contexts. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to inflict them on audiences anymore. So the diversity, equity, and inclusion group in the SCA is having this roundtable discussion of sorts. And I look forward to getting a chance to watch it and seeing what they have to say. And it's something to remember that even though we recreate a focused time in the past, although it's a pretty wide range in the past, we are a modern organization moving forward. And as such, our thoughts, our processes, the way we interact with others also needs to be more forward thinking. And I think that with Baroness Zara, for example, at the helm, we've been doing a lot of that, but there's more we need to do. And I think this is going to be a fantastic class or workshop to listen to and find out ways that we as performers can do just that. The second thing I wanted to talk about is coming up on the 2nd of May. It's going to be happening around 6 p.m. Pacific time. This is another one on Facebook, and this is Duke Sven Randelson's class on how to make modern shoes have a more period aesthetic. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to be able to take like your giant fuzzy slipper and turn it into something that looks like a boot from Bohemund. I don't know if Bohemund can do that. And don't laugh. My mom made me these, and I still love the fact that they look like giant bear slippers. But you can learn from his class to use leather and wraps, almost like spats, and create a more period aesthetic to your modern shoes. And this isn't just for vanity's sake. This also has to do for other reasons. If you have a particular type of shoe because you need orthopedic assistance or an insole or something like that, or extra ankle support, and you have a modern boot or shoe that does that kind of thing, then His Grace's class will be able to assist you in how to cover it or how to provide additional camouflage, if you will, so it looks more aesthetically pleasing in the SCA. I think it's going to be a fantastic class. I'm looking forward to taking it myself. From what I understand, it is just his method. It's something he does for his own aesthetic, and take or leave the information that His Grace gives you. But I think it's going to be fantastic, and I recommend it wholeheartedly because especially for those of us that are going to start getting our fighting kits together, maybe we want to get ready for this next crown. Maybe we want to get ready for this next, consort's champion. And this would be a fantastic way to start from the bottom up, as it were. But at any rate, those are the two websites that I wanted to talk about this week. And now folks are going to have to drink.
Everyone has to do a shot now because I forgot to unmute myself. I was just going to say, it's a good thing that you're highlighting fixing up your gear, especially when it comes to shoes, because change is afoot right now. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I just like watching the reactions in the little preview windows that no one else can see. Anyway, so speaking of feet, who are our first two guests for this evening?
We are very fortunate that we have with us their Majesties of the Kingdom of the East, and that would be His Majesty Alberic and His Majesty Tindal. So we're very fortunate that they will be joining us and talking with us this evening. It's rather late for them, so we're very fortunate.
We've done the sin of keeping the crown waiting, so let's cut right to them. Thank you, Born. And they will be here in just one moment. And we're going to fix this so we look better. There we go. Hello.
Good evening.
Hello, Your Majesty.
Hello.
Wow. So, hello from Caid. So y'all are out there on the East Coast, about where, both within the East Kingdom and modernly, where y'all located at?
We are within the barony of Concordia of the Snows, which just geographically, I'll put us right by Albany, New York, right? State capital.
Okay. Awesome. And when did your reign start?
It depends on when you say reign. So if you're talking about coronation, that would have been August of 2020.
Really?
Yeah, the crown tournament that we were victorious in would have been November of 2019.
Wow. So you're going for tenure. So. And now, how have things been going? We get the West Coast look at things. And, fortunately, we had a conversation with your predecessor about how the reigns, when things were a little bit more intense on the health side and the SCA. So over the past few months, it seems to be changing on the coast. How are things going out on the East Kingdom here recently?
Well, I want to say fairly well. And I think some of that credit does go to our predecessor, Contessa Margarita, who was part of a fantastic team where we transitioned to being able to have that online presence as a kingdom. We got to do an online ANS champs. This Saturday, we're doing an online Bardic championship. We're looking forward to Bardic War. There's been a real ability. We have a fantastic web team that's kind of kept the kingdom connected. And looking forward, we're hoping for summer and some small in-person events possibly.
Basically, what we've been doing is the arts and sciences have been keeping the East Kingdom afloat. They've been doing online classes weekly, and anywhere from doing hair braiding to weaving weaving and everything like that has been happening. We've also been continuing on recognizing our populace during our online courts and doing recording sessions so that we don't burn everyone out that's in the process. So we've still been giving out all East Kingdom awards.
That's awesome. I mean, keeping that connection with, even from my smaller perspective, keeping the connection with the people around you and the kingdom and community at large, I think is the biggest challenge and and actually, at least for me, the most rewarding thing during this time, of being able to do it at least electronically, keep that connection going. So, and y'all have even a bigger challenge because your kingdom goes over the Canada-U.S. border. So is that a special set of circumstances trying to get things coordinated?
Right now, I mean, as we're all at home and connecting ethereally, that's given us the advantage of remaining one kingdom. As we're looking at possibly opening before we have an open border reconnecting our kingdom, it is a consideration that has been on our mind in every decision we've been making, and certainly could become a challenge moving forward. But we're hoping we're moving in the right direction and we can get that connection physically as well as everything else.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it right here because it keeps coming back to this.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the challenges that lies ahead, one of the reasons I've wanted to reach out to your Majesties and have this conversation is I saw the announcement about your upcoming Crown tournament and how to deal with the challenges of not only the national borders, but the different state to state, because how many states, along with the provinces of Canada, does your kingdom cover? A bunch, right? I don't know off the top of my head.
I'm trying to do my quick count. I'm not going to be able to count all of our Canadian provinces. U.S. geography even there, but
it's a lot.
We'd be at, I'd say if you took the states and the provinces together, we'd be at about a dozen.
Delaware, work your way up the coast and go to Maine, and then into Canada on this side of the section. So that's pretty much the amount of states that we have. So if you want to start counting states, it'd be Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and then you start going New Jersey and a section of Pennsylvania and Delaware.
Wow. Yeah, as well, I was taught in growing up in Texas, we just call that New England. So that's like one big state, right? So not only do you have to coordinate, again, the national challenges, but the challenges that are involved with going state to state and county to county and all that kind of stuff. So do you want to talk about the solution you've come up with to run a Crown tournament with these crazy restrictions that are ahead?
Well, yeah, we had a really good conversation, a series of town halls kind of across our kingdom to figure out what we could do to make it work. And a lot of what we're looking at we've seen some success with scholastic athletics here in New England. And what's made that work has been potting, right? Like keeping the people that live in that same state, that live in that same geographic area together. And the East Kingdom, for a while now, Crown Tournament has begun with these round robin pools that then feed up into the tournament. And so what we thought was if we could take those round robin pools and rather than pulling everyone together, place them around the kingdom as feeder tournaments that would feed up into a final list at Crown Tournament that would enable us to have a greater initial participation, right? The number of participants, we could reach more people and then still have a smaller, manageable Crown Tournament, because the real focus is to have something that we can plan and leave that plan in place. right? Because that's the concern, is as we move forward, what regulations move, what changes, and to try and create something that was feasible enough that we could keep it on the calendar.
That it sounds like a very a good way to apply getting a good tournament, getting a good turnout, letting the populace partake in the glory that is Crown Tournament, but do it within the regulations and stipulations that you have. So you'll have like like the Sweet 16 and the Hateful Eight and the Final Four. I don't watch basketball, but so it'll just kind of roll from there. Is it like you're going to have smaller pools and then more regional ones and then one final one, or how are you planning to plug it all together?
It pretty much depends on how many entrants we get to the Crown Tournament. And then once we kind of have a number, we can then go out to the people who've bid on these events to say, okay, here is where your pool is going to be located, and that's where you'll fight for the feeder tournament, and then it'll come up to one event for Crown Tournament. We're hoping that the Crown Tournament itself can be live streamed, which will be very helpful to the kingdom, so they actually can see that final set. We're also hoping that the feeder tournaments can be live streamed in some fashion, but it's not a requirement. We're just hoping that it can be done. And we still have to sort out some logistics with that, just to make sure that everyone can be involved with these feeder tournaments and Crown itself.
Right. That's kind of the two variables that we're juggling, is how many groups can find a location where we can have a small feeder tournament and how many people want to participate. And kind of once we have those two pieces of data, then the plan comes together. So
when's the deadline for letters of intent?
The deadline for letters of intent is May 15th, giving us a month to plan before we start actually fighting.
Well, sounds like you got a lot of time. I think for if you live broadcast, live stream the feeder ones, you should get color commentators. I think that would go over great.
We did some color commentary on an equestrian competition. We had a virtual equestrian competition. It was a lot of fun, but man, that's just, you're walking into internet danger there.
Oh yeah. I do not recommend it. And as I found when people are recording their fights just from regular tournaments, don't talk around the camera that's recording, because everything you say, when the person is watching their fight on the video, they get to hear your comments too. Not that it's ever happened to me. No. So, and then the other thing, and then Bjorn has some much better questions, is about Pinzig. We kind of touched on it at the top of the show. On Friday, they made the announcement that Pinzig's 49 has been postponed another year. And of course, that's a huge war for the East. Can you just talk about the impact on the kingdom?
Pinzig 49, 30 years of charm is where we're at. I want to say, I can't speak for the entire kingdom, but the people that I have spoken to in the East, the vast majority of them, there was a sense of thankful relief that the choice was safety first. So that when we come back, we're coming back to that glorious thing that is Pinzig, that is the full Pinzig. I've become fond of saying you can't go directly from a coma to a marathon, right? Pinzig is our marathon. And there's so many small logistical steps that need to be taken. And the East is excited to start taking those steps, to start coming back together. And the last thing we want is a giant stumble setting us back. So I don't think that we're happy to wait another year for Pinzig, but we're happy to have the chance to get a Pinzig.
Especially one that families can attend. So with the vaccination rates within our states and within where Pinzig is located, the number for me is not where it should be, and I'm really glad that they decided to postpone Pennsic for another year. And my staff is happy that Pennsic has been postponed for another year, because it would have been difficult, because there have been so many separated families from the staff that would go to Pennsic and help us set up our kingdom encampment and everything like that. So it's hard not having a Pennsic, but in the same vein, we're keeping people safe.
Yeah, I mean, we were watching the announcement out here. There's a small contingent that comes out from Caid. I've been fortunate. I went out several years in a row and enjoyed the hospitality of the East and enjoyed Pennsic. But, there's that collection of wars that are in October and November now that are kind of looking over their shoulder, trying to do their planning. Out here we have Great Western War, that is Columbus Day weekend, and which is now opposite Gulf Wars, which is the month before Estrella, right? They're all kind of right there, and War of the Wings is in between. Anyway, so I know they're doing some heavy reviews, basically, since Pennsic has now once again postponed. And for what it's worth, I agree. I mean, I wouldn't have traveled at this time. I have a 13-year-old, and they don't have a vaccine for her yet. So, yeah, not a thing to do. All righty, so I'm going to step away now, and Bjorn will come in with a few more questions, but I'll be back. That's a warning. So.
Once again, thank you, Your Majesties, for taking the time to spend with us, especially as late as it is where you are. So my first question is, for your crown list. Now, in many other kingdoms, and I'm assuming yours as well, there's usually a requirement for a number of events to have attended prior to submitting a letter of intent. Now, out here it's 6, but one of those can be either a council meeting or a fighter practice. But of course, with the lockdown being what it is, how are you managing the event attendance requirement, or are you just doing away with it altogether?
I'm going to say that all of those requirements are waivable by the Crown, and I don't see any way to measure that at this point. We're looking at people who are willing to step forward in a time of such uncertainty to take the chance at leading the kingdom, not knowing what's coming. That's a commitment enough. We don't need to look at where you've been or how ethereal SCA appealed to you or not. If you can make the commitment to lead right now as a subject of the East, that's enough.
Excellent answer. And I didn't expect anything less from Your Majesties. My second question is, if I may ask, are you the first same-gendered crown for the Kingdom of the East?
Yes, we are.
Outstanding. And I understand that you have chosen as the model for your reign, like a Roman consul. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Fantastic. So for all of my Roman history geeks out there, I have 2 questions. First is this Roman Kingdom, Roman Republic, or Roman Empire era consulate?
We have drifted around a little bit, but I'm going to say Roman Empire is where most of what we've been doing has fallen. I really like the model of the Roman consulate, especially the method of turnover we have with SCA royalty. It really made sense in my head.
I'm having really good fun running the Senate part of the kingdom, while His Majesty runs more of the martial part of the kingdom, and keeping things separated. And since we can't really have wars, he hasn't really had a lot to do. But being the Senate, I haven't had a lot to do either because we're not having events. But at least we get to have some fun doing our ethereal courts, playing those separate pieces.
Excellent. Now, the second question I have, once again, these are for my history geeks. If my Laurel friends, my history friends, they would not let me get away with it if I didn't ask the very important question. Now, for those folks at home that don't know, there's something called a fasces, and that is the thing you see carried around in Rome, where it is the big axe with the bundle of rods around it. And during the consulate times, that was handed off. So a consul would have it 1 month, and then another one would have it another month. So is there really one? And do you guys trade off on it, or do you have your own, your Majesties? What is the skinny on the fasces?
You know, there was an intention to trade it back and forth between us, but with all of my campaigns suspended due to plague, it's just become a Consul Alberic gets to keep it. If I ever get to leave the villa, I can take it with me. That's our agreement.
That is wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. Plus, if the Senate acts up, there is an accent in there, so that's
it's true. And Consul Alberic did massively expand our Senate a few months ago, inducting all of the pets in our kingdom as official senators. We've got horses, dogs, cats, snakes. It was a real power grab.
Yeah, the whole gambit. We did a whole live show and showed all of our new senators.
I should imagine that equestrian event you had a while ago was good to meet some of your new senators. That must have been great. Well, I do appreciate answering those questions, and I know that they're tongue in cheek, but that's one of the great things about how there will be people who have a Roman reign, or they will have a Viking reign, and so having a consulate as a same-gendered reign, since they are still so very new in the SCA, it has been wonderful to see how the historical basis plays into that era of Roman history. And I, for one, think it's fascinating, and I really enjoy what your Majesties have done. And I'm sure that it is you do all the honor to the Kingdom of the East by this wonderful way to interact with your populace, even if it is just via the glass right now.
Yeah, thank you very much. And the picture of us together on the announcement, right? We had the blue tiger aquifer, and that's the fun we get to have, right? Is to instead of the Roman eagle, throw Sparky, right, the Eastern totem up there, and it's just. There's been such an embrace of the entire idea of what we're doing by the kingdom. It's been really heartwarming.
Well, once again, thank you both so very much for taking the time to answer our questions. And as I said to you prior to the airtime, I do believe that many kingdoms are going to be watching your pod feeder system for your crown list, because if things don't open as we hope they do. Of course, we hope they do.
Right.
If things don't open necessarily as we would like, I suspect this is going to be a model that other kingdoms will be watching very closely in the future. So thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, you're stuck with me again. So thank you, Your Majesties. Like I said, now we come to the part of the show where you get to show off your knowledge, right? That's really what this is about. And we have a game for you to play. So, Bjorn, what is the name of the game this week?
Their Majesty's game this evening is Heavy Weighs the Head.
Right. So, it's kind of from Shakespeare. Heavy weighs the head that wears the crown. So I thought it'd be a fun game for me to give you human organs, and you tell me how much they weigh. No, that would be awesome, but I wouldn't do that to my viewers at home.
Well, I need to know if those were SCA scale organs or regular human scale organs.
Right, especially when it comes to the liver. Big difference on that one. All right, so what I'm going to do is I have photos of crowns from across the known world for the different kingdoms. Now, I would assume by going to Pinzik and interacting with crown court and stuff, you would see plenty of the crowns from across the known world. So I will put them up and see if you can guess which kingdom the crown is. We good with this? Everyone good? Okay. We're keeping score, by the way. So I'm going to step away so you can see the pictures better. And so, hold on. No. Hilda's trying to come in. Go away, Hilda. Okay, so here we're going to do this. So what kingdom where obviously they think bigger is better is this one.
So I feel like you're trying to throw me off by putting the Glen Aubin heraldry behind.
Oh,
Her Majesty Mary Grace at the time. I'm going to say that's Anstiora.
No. Okay, so other one?
No, I don't think that's Anstiora. If I could see the picture of the bigger picture again. Yeah, I still can't recognize the animal heraldry.
You got some rams on there. You got a couple of rams.
I gave it to you. It's take the one I said it wasn't.
Yeah,
well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. It was so. Yes.
It's opposite night, and you are correct, Your Majesty. That is Glen Aubin. Wow, that was a long drive for a short trip. Okay, so next one. Here we go. Where'd that go? Yeah, I'll hit the button right. What kingdom would this nice filigree be? It's like the opposite of the one we just saw.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah, I can't say I've seen that one before.
Well, it's a neighboring kingdom.
Wait, neighboring to Glen Aubin or neighboring to the east?
To the east, where it's all about you, Your Majesty. So when I make references, it's all about you. So it's
I'm going to say Atlantia.
I would also agree that it's Atlantia because his Grace Tindal was king of Ethelmark at one point or another, and he would recognize if it was from that kingdom. So I would also go with Atlantia.
That is correct. It is Atlantia. All right, here's another one. Who would this be?
Oh my gosh, that's tough. I feel like I'm going to embarrass myself if I don't say Caid because
that is Caid.
No, it's Caid. It's got the Yep, that's definitely Caid.
One of many. Most kingdoms. Okay, so here's another one. This one might be a little bit tougher. Here we go. So, what kingdom is this one?
Oh, Callantyr.
Yes, it's Callantyr.
Yes, you're absolutely incorrect. It is Lockhock. That's Lockhock.
Oh.
I may never have actually met royalty from Lockhock.
Well, there you go.
We had a lovely interview with Lockhock, but I don't know that in person I've ever.
Yeah, they're nice crowns.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't ask me, but okay. So here's the next one. Here's subtle, I think is the word that describes these.
Mm-hmm.
Who would these be? There's a clue on the crown.
Yeah, it's. Oh my gosh. I'll just go. I'll go hard wrong. I'll just say Antier.
And Albert, do you have a guess, or are you going to go with Antier?
Don't go with Antier.
No, I'm not going to go with Antier.
That's probably a wise choice.
I will take a stab at it and go Anstior.
Anstior is correct. You have the little black star, so you get half point. Give me half point.
Thank you.
Okay, just a couple more. We're almost done. So this one, let's make it big. Who would this be?
Oh, got it.
That's Callantyr.
No, that's North Shield.
That's North Shield?
That's North Shield.
It is North Shield. Very nice.
The heraldry's on the gem in the front.
Oh, right. Yeah, missed that.
And it would be cool if it shot lasers out of it. But
Well, sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
okay, almost done. Let's go with this one.
That is that's one of the newer kingdoms.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks for narrowing it down.
Oh my gosh. Alberic, help me out here. West Coast, Upper.
Good luck with that, because in the pandemic, I'm trying to keep up with everything.
Starts with an A. They all start with this.
There's like 6 of them this time. We won't. I will give you the answer. It is Avakal,
Thank you.
or the principality formerly known as Ontario. Okay, so we got one more.
And on behalf of the consuls, we formally apologize to all of our royal cousins for not recognizing what their crowns are.
Okay, so last one. What kingdom is this one?
Wow. West.
You would think by the size would be West, but oh darn it! I accidentally slipped on the crown of Gondor.
Gondor, yes. I'm gonna say it's like that's a Lord of the Rings crown. Were you trying to fool us?
Well, maybe. So thank you for your patience, Your Majesties. For a little bit of frivolity. Y'all did pretty good. I mean, what? You missed 3? Well, I won't count Gondor. So you got you missed 2.5. So
Okay.
I think you'll be doing some studying at the next Penzing. Just
That's what I'm going to blame. It's been so long since I've seen anyone.
And here's the weird thing: there's no repository of coronets and crowns of the known world. You kind of have to go kingdom by kingdom. So anyone looking for something to do, anyway. I know it's late. Thank you for your time, Your Majesties. I know that there's a burden, even more than normal, to be crowned during these times, and especially for the length of time, for the obligation that you've been able to partake and carry on so well. So I want to thank you for your time on coming on here tonight, talking to people 3,000 miles away to let us know what's going on. I wish you the best of luck for your crown tournament. It sounds fascinating, and as Bjorn said, it lends itself to being a model as a solution for other kingdoms should they face similar restrictions going forward. So is there anything you'd like to say to the populace before we bid you the good evening?
Well, it's been a real pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us. But to the populace, I mean, I'll say what we always say. Stay safe, because what we're really looking forward to is coming back together. It's been so impressive to see the creative ways that everyone has stayed connected, and it really fills me with hope that as we move forward, we'll find a way to make it work.
Thank you for having us on. It's been a real pleasure. And yes, to echo His Majesty Tindal's words, it's like, be well, be safe, and we hope to see you when things start to open up once again.
All right. Well, Your Majesties, once again, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your evening. I know it's very late it's past my bedtime. And hopefully our paths will cross at some point when we're open back up. And I look forward to meeting you in person. Thank you so much.
Hope so.
We'll see you then. It's fabulous.
It is. Theirs was the first virtual coronation I ever saw, because, as you know, one of our earlier guests, Contessa Margrethe, was de Siena was Queen of the East at the time, and we were so raring to support her and everything that she was going through, and that the East was going through, that that when she let it be known on our show that that they were going to be doing their virtual coronation, I had to see. And Their Majesties Tindal and Alberic did an excellent job. I know that they're going to continue to do a wonderful job for their populace. And as I said before, I look forward to seeing where this goes for other kingdoms that are going to be watching this quite intently.
Right. It's fun to watch, and I would say one of the positives out of the pandemic. It definitely makes us feel like a larger community that exists beyond the borders of our kingdom or just the neighbors next to us. So the populace and the Crown of the East has been very welcoming to us for all of our shenanigans we've done for the past year, whether interviewing them or Bardic performances. So it's been fantastic. And speaking of Bardic performances, see, there's a transition. Who do we have coming on next?
We are very fortunate in that we have visiting us from the middle section of our contiguous states, the co-steward of the upcoming First Bardic War, Her Ladyship Hilla Stormbringer will be joining us.
Alrighty, well, let's bring her on. I tried to bring her on early a little bit ago, so we got a preview. Hello!
Greetings and salutations.
Welcome to the show. So, how are you this evening?
I am doing very well. I apologize for the allergies that have decided to smack into me. So, if you hear me doing a little bit of, that's why.
Well, you should live in a reclaimed desert like us out here in Caid. You don't have to worry about it.
No, thank you. Appreciate it, but no.
So, speaking of which, where in the middle do you live?
So I live in the Midrealm in the region called the Midlands. Actually, for geographically speaking, just outside of Chicago.
Oh.
So, right below our border with North Shield. I can also let you know, due to the border concordances of AS-52, no crowns are allowed to shoot lasers.
Whatever. I guess I'll never try to win crown now.
Now, that does not mean that lasers cannot be hidden in the crowns, just that the crowns themselves cannot shoot lasers.
That's true. So several years ago, complete tangent, but oh well, it's my show. They had, the West had party cornets. And what they had done is the pearls were little globes with LEDs in them. And the front insignia was actually a touch panel that could change the sequence and lighting of the LEDs in the pearls. And they would go around at night with them. And they were amazing. So they didn't shoot lasers, but they put on a show.
Next best thing, you know.
Exactly. So we'll get to Bardic War in a second.
Yes.
How long have you been in the SCA?
I've been in the SCA since 1987. So this fall it'll be on 34 years.
Wow.
Started in college, up in, actually still in the Midrealm, in Pentamere, in the middle of the state, right there in Michigan. So went there, and then when I moved back to Chicago, I started up, so I had a brief couple years of hiatus because when I was out in Outlands for a couple of years, there wasn't Outlands there. So,
Right.
You know.
So did you get started in Bardic? Is that what brought you in, or did you grow into it?
It's kind of a weird thing because so I've been singing and writing songs my entire life. So in that aspect, I've been in Bardic like my whole life. As far as Bardic in the SCA though, because I was a poor college student and didn't get to do a lot of camping, I wasn't exposed to a lot of the Bardic in the SCA until I moved back into the Midlands. So it was around the mid 1990s when I really started doing Bardic. And it was, like coming home, because it was nice because I didn't have to be singing and then having someone go, "Shut up, Hilla." So it was very nice to do that, and just finding my community niche. And so I have been growing as a bard since then, and supporting the Bardic community for many years.
So when it comes to performing, do you do a lot of your own stuff that you've written, or do you perform other pieces? What's your bailiwick?
Mostly I do pieces that I've written. because I've been writing songs since I was, 9 years old. Occasionally I will sing songs that other people have written. Now and again, I will do a period piece. I also like to make up stories and tell those. Sometimes I will throw in a little bit of Norse mythology, little snags and snigs of Beowulf, just whatever happens to be necessary at the time. So it's just really nice because I actually got to take some of Master John Inchingham's improv classes, and that has actually really increased my versatility as a bard. So now it's kind of like, okay, yeah, I can do that. Why not? Sure. Jump in.
That's awesome. So it's getting a little late, so let's jump over to Bardic War. So you're co-steward of Bardic
Yes.
War, right? So I would imagine anything positive or feedback goes to you, and anything that's negative goes to the other co-steward. But can you tell
Sure
us?
enough.
So can you tell us just briefly how Bardic War came along, and what kind of generally the plan is and the dates and everything?
All right. So the long and the short of it is I decided in last August. I decided last June I wanted to hold a Bardic Symposium, and that was in August of 2020. That went so well that I grabbed my co-conspirators and said, let's do it again in January. So we had a Bardic Symposium in January, which was both of them were 2.5 days of classes, performances, Bardic circles, etc. We did a journeyman's concert. So we took a lot of bards that are really, really wonderful, but may not get the headliner status that they really deserve, and had this absolutely wonderful concert with 22 performers. I noted in there that, wow, there were a lot of them from Atlantia, and it was kind of like being invaded. So it was just an innocent little comment, but commentary then went into the chat, smack talking with my co-steward, Laila Alsana Al Andalusia. I think I pronounced that correctly. Who was actually saying, if the East joined up with Atlantia, they could take on the world. My master, Kirian Cantor, was talking about ransoming the bards of Atlantia who had invaded the Midrealm. And then Ermagerd from Anstiora types in, hold my mead. That led to, let's have a war, which is actually something that I have heard talked about in the Bardic community for decades. It would be really cool to find some way to have a Bardic war. But it was just kind of bandied about as yeah, that would be kind of cool, but there's no way to really do it. I posted on Facebook that I had accidentally triggered an inter-kingdom incident, and that blew up on Facebook. And instead of something that we were thinking, hey, there's a lot of us that think this would be really cool, maybe we can have it in a couple of years, all of a sudden we have literally hundreds of comments and shares saying we need to have this. So instead of taking a break after this symposium, I found myself immediately caught up in running this war. And so we've been planning that ever since, and we're going to be holding it May 15th through 23rd, ethereally, so in slightly less than a month. And we are very, very excited about it. It was just, it seemed like it was the right time to do it, and we really wanted to give the populace a war. Not knowing what else would happen.
Yeah, it sounds like lots of fun. And we're, we kind of helping spread the word. Thank you for letting us be the official variety show. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of competition.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely we had to weed out. We had to weed out tens and tens of people, but we decided it wasn't insanity. We realized we were left unsupervised at the symposium, which is how this started. So we figured if we have you at the war, you will not be unsupervised.
Oh, that's good because
So it's safer that way.
Yeah, Bjorn keeps me in check most of the time. Plus, I gave you a fabulous trailer you can use.
It was awesome. I love that, the explosions and everything, and honestly, all it was missing was a war horse.
Oh, I can fix that. I do all the graphics. I will add horses next time. So, for your performance this evening, I understand you could perform 2 pieces. Can you tell us about the first one?
Yes. So the first one, actually is what got me the name Stormbringer. I wanted to write a song about storms because I love storms. And so I wrote the song, and I was asked to perform at a feast. A good, 20 years, little less than 20 years ago. But anyway, no, 20 years ago. Anyway, so I went to go sing, but everybody else had these really witty songs. And I said, well, I hope that y'all signed your blue cards because the last time I performed this, there were tornado warnings. Now, this is actually true. But what happened was that we'd had rain off and on all day because we had the remnants of a hurricane that had come up from the Gulf and were over us, but we thought it was done. And once I had finished this, not 5 minutes after I sat down, I get, Hilla, you need to look out the back. And there on the horizon was this mass of roiling clouds, 45-minute cloud burst, poured on all the servers going from the kitchen building to the feast building. And every time I sing this, about probably 80% of the time, it rains. Oh. So this is called Northwind's Daughter. And if y'all are hoping for some sort of precipitation, I hope you get it. So let me just grab a drink here.
Okie doke. The floor is yours.
I was born at the dawn of a cold autumn day when the wind met the mist on a hill. A child of the Northlands, I'm free as a bird and my body is as strong as my will. I laugh at the blizzard and dance in the gale. From the wild geese I learned to take flight. My first lullaby was the song of the wolf and the cry of the loon in the night. And it's hi-ho, down from the snow, down with the hail and the rain, down with the thunder crashes and roars. I am the North Wind's daughter. Wild as the storm, I'll never be tamed, for I am the North Wind's daughter. I am the North Wind's daughter. When winter's white cloak lies so cold on the land, then I dance on the ice-frozen lake. To send down the sleet or to send down the snow, well, I feel it is my choice to make. I run with the deer in the pine forest dark when the northern lights sleep in the sky. When bonfires are lit to drive off the deep cold, with the hawk and the eagle I fly. And it's hi-ho, down from the snow, down with the hail and the rain, down with the thunder crashes and roars. I am the North Wind's daughter. Wild as the storm, I'll never be tamed, for I am the North Wind's daughter. I am the North Wind's daughter. Come spring and come summer, when warmth fills the land, well, don't think I have fled far away. For I am the storm wind that shreds the white sail, with the lightning and thunder I play. I ride on the crest of the rapids' white wave, where it leaps and it foams on the sand. Come sailors, take warning, when you hear my voice, then you'd best keep your feet on the land. And it's I hi-ho, down from the snow, down with the hail and the rain, down with the thunder crashes and roars. I am the North Wind's daughter. Wild as the storm, I'll never be tamed, for I am the North Wind's daughter. I am the North Wind's daughter. Come, all you brave men, now come heed my advice, for with you I shall never abide. Though many have tried, just as many have failed, for you can't take a storm as a bride. Speak not your sweet words, they mean nothing at all, oh, swear not any promise to me. Do not try to follow, do not dream to dare. If you love me, you let me stay free. And it's hi-ho, down from the snow, down with the hail and the rain, down with the thunder crashes and roars. I am the North Wind's daughter. Wild as the storm, I'll never be tamed, for I am the North Wind's daughter. I am the North Wind's daughter.
That's awesome.
You have been warned.
Well, you know, I'm sure with all the different places we're broadcasting is getting ready to storm somewhere. So
Of course.
there you go. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And
Thank
you
you.
have a second piece for us tonight.
I do, and it's very much different. So, a couple of years back, before the pandemic, the head of my household, I'm a member of House Sans Nomen, and the son-in-law of the head of my household was fighting in Crown Tournament and won in the Midrealm. Seto Heka, who became king of the Midrealm, and Inez Rena. And I'd been wanting to write a crown tourney sort of song. So I started writing this song, but I wanted it to be applicable to not just the Midrealm, but all kingdoms. And then I realized that although it was originally written for crown tourney, it had deeper meaning and more wide-reaching. And as the pandemic has worn on, to me, it's really become an anthem to myself of why we keep going, why we go on, and why we as the Bardic community have done our best to serve the rest of the SCA to give them something of their dream. So this is called For the Love of a Rose.
Great. Well, the floor is yours.
For the love of a rose, I stand, I fight, proudly swear upon my name to uphold the right. For the honor of a rose, so strong and bright, heavy is the burden, but the rose makes it light. For the love of the dream, I stand, I fight, proudly swear upon my name to uphold the right. For the honor of the dream, so strong and bright, heavy is the burden, but the dream makes it light. For the love of this land, I stand, I fight, proudly swear upon my name to uphold the right. For the honor of this land, so strong and bright, heavy this land makes it light. For the love of my people, I will stand, I will fight, proudly swear upon my name to uphold the right. For the honor of my people, so strong and bright. Heavy is the burden, but together it is light.
Wow. That was amazing. And such, so good. Let's bring Bjorn in. I know he wants to talk. Hey, Bjorn.
Hello.
Excellent to get a chance to have you share your talents with us. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
So nice. So nice.
Appreciate it.
Before you go, I have an idea for a contest of Bardic War. Because you should have the bards get together and perform the first piece they've ever written, not just within the SCA. So you could perform the thing you did when you were 9 years old, and just have everyone perform their very first written piece.
Actually, the first thing I ever wrote was music, but the music was set to the rhymes of lore from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings.
Huh? I was just humming that earlier.
I don't know if I'd want to do it myself. The very first thing I wrote was an Anglo-Saxon narrative poem about a gym sock that came to life and took over my PE class. I'm not making that up.
Okay, next time you have to perform, Bjorn.
Alliteration and kinnings. I still have most of it memorized even now.
Yeah, next time you have to perform, you're on.
Honestly, what you need to do is just set it dramatically to kazoo.
Oh,
that's a spark of genius right there.
I've done kingdom anthems on kazoo.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you for coming on the show today. What a lovely voice. And
Thank you.
The two pieces were just amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for your support of allowing us to support the Bardic War. So.
It's been wonderful. It has the silver lining, and there aren't that many, but the silver lining in the pandemic was honestly that the Bardic community had been, we get together at bigger wars, but it gets fragmented kingdom to kingdom, kingdom to kingdom. And I'm meeting people from all over the world, and we're getting people actually who have been returning to the SCA saying, with these ethereal Bardic events, we're able to come back because we haven't been able to go to events in 5 years, 10 years, things like that. So it's just been really great. And I have to say the other thing is when you're talking about DEI, one of the things that we've been emphasizing in this war is we've got non-English war points. We've got non-European performances where we can emphasize and really showcase both non-European performances and also minority cultures within, say, European history. And we also even have one that is sign language war points. So we've really been trying to, embrace diversity and reach out to make sure that we could include a whole bunch of people. It's really been exciting to see DEI taking off, and we as the war staff have definitely embraced it. So, we're just glad to see you supporting it too.
That's awesome. Of course. Well, thank you so much. It's not quite as late as for their Majesty, but it's late for you. So I appreciate you being here with us this evening. I'm sure we'll be talking again soon. Probably not in this venue, but we'll be talking. And thank you again. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
We'll see you later. I still think they should add a category about best saga about a sock. I mean, come on.
It was a dare, and I had an English teacher who didn't think that tomfoolery that I was doing in the SCA was worth anything. And I said, "Oh yeah, I'll show you." And I don't think I convinced her, but a lot of people at my local group thought it was cool. So
Nice. And I was reflecting earlier about how many different royals I probably upset talking about their crowns. So we may get some, maybe getting some mail this week.
possibly, but once again, that is an excellent point. Since we don't have an overarching, these are the crowns and coronets of the known world, the kingdoms and principalities, that might be a nifty thing to do, just so we can have it. Plus, you know how it is. I don't want this particular thing because that belongs to that kingdom. That's so last season. That's so Varangian. Whatever works, you know.
So, all right. Well, I guess that wraps up our show this evening. One last thing, though. We want to talk about the digital symposium that's coming up.
Indeed, we do.
And that's the first weekend in May.
Mhm.
1st and 2nd, that's Saturday and Sunday. It's a Facebook event. Do you have more information on it?
Right now, I know that our time got moved. We are now scheduled on the 2nd of May. And along with other classes talking about the digital sphere, our class essentially is going to be, as you've said, how does one put a show together for the ethereal SCA?
Yes.
From what I understand, we also have additional teachers who are going to be talking about how to run Zoom classes and everything from the basic things of how do you change your name in a Zoom to how to produce and upload things to YouTube and editing like OBS software. So we have a whole host of
Yes.
things that'll be teaching folks. And this just isn't about digital space and what we do. This is also going to assist people who, for example, the live streaming of that crown. That's something that they're going to be working on. And we have our own Sir Helgi, who has been doing video commentary and video assistance with our fighters in Caid for years and years. And so things along those lines are going to be put forth for other folks to get a chance to try that. And that it can never hurt to watch your own fighting or to have a more seasoned fighter to kind of talk you through what you're doing after the fact.
Yeah, I don't want to watch my own fighting because I get to see it first person. I don't need to see it again. Oof. Anyway, so who do we have lined up on the Bardic side for next week?
Well, we are trying to figure out which is the next general of the Bardic War that will be joining us next week. It kind of depends upon logistics. I do know that Her Ladyship Stormbringer's other co-steward is still suffering a bit of a vocal affliction, and so she will be joining us in May, but we're just trying to sort of reshuffle and figure out who's going to be next. But it's going to be another heavy hitter for the Bardic War.
All right. Well, we'll have more information as the week goes along on our guest next week. As usual, Bjorn, thank you for joining us this evening. Pleasure to see you, my friend.
It's always good to see you, Laertes.
Oh, I don't believe that. But anyway, and to everyone else out there, once again, join us next week when we will be live from Caid. We'll see you then.
Bye, everybody.